Dude, when it comes to free champions that you can pick up in Raid Shadow Legends, you can pick up a ton of super high quality stuff just by logging into the game. But which of these champions are actually bait? Which of them look good on the surface? You know, Raid will tell you, ooh, Yaga is a dangerous poison specialist. Which of these champs are actually complete bait, suck, and you should not build at all? That's what we're going to be covering in this video, man. And you know what? What better place to start off than with Yaga the Insatiable himself. This guy is kind of notorious as one of the early bait login champs, right? You get him as the 60-day login reward, and while his kit on the surface might be useful to you as a brand new account, right, in your super early stages, dude, don't be fooled, man. This guy falls off within, his lifespan is like weeks, okay? So on his A1, it's an attack 1 enemy with a fully bucked up 50% chance of placing a strong poison debuff for 2 turns. Not bad, right? Early account, you're trying to get started in clan boss and that kind of thing. Seems like it could be decent. The A2 is a double hitter with each hit having a fully bucked, that's a 75% chance of applying another strong poison debuff, or I suppose a couple of poison debuffs. Again, really not bad, you know? And the A3 attacks 1 enemy, damage increases by 25% against targets under poison debuffs. So, Yaga, not a bad poisoner at all. The problem with Yaga is that, dude, he's just outperformed by rare poisoners. Sort of goes without saying, but obviously if you started off with Kale, then you've already got a pretty goddamn strong poisoner on your team. Kale is like the most obvious rare champ that can actively compete with a Yaga's poison potential. Difference is Kale is also obviously very useful in many different areas of the game. You of course have the stupendous and the beautiful Frozen Banshee, which is another just fantastic. In fact, is Frozen Banshee actually just better than Yaga? She's got attack 1 enemy 2 times, each hit with a fully bucked 100% chance of placing strong poison on the A1. So she can apply more poisons more consistently using less skill tomes, or rather lower quality skill tomes, because she's only a rare champion, and she also brings poison sensitivity, which increases the damage that the poisons deal to the target. So like, Banshee's just better than Yaga in a lot of situations. And lastly, you've also got Petrifia, man. If you're looking for a rare quality champ to help you out with poisoning against the clan boss, right? Maybe you didn't even start off with a kill and you're just looking for a solid poisoner to work with. So A1 is a double hitter, right? And if the target is under poison sensitivity debuff placed by this champion, each hit then has a fully bucked 35% chance of placing decreased defense debuff, the strong version, for 2 turns, which is great because of course Petrifia does actually bring poison sensitivity herself. The 3 triple hitter, each hit with a chance of placing poison sensitivity, and if all hits land on the same target, she also places a poison debuff herself. So again, she's just another great option. And I mean, good god, dude, even just in the uncommon champion pool, you have the option of Outlaw Monk. If you're really looking for a super early game poisoner just to get you started in clan boss, this guy on his A2, I mean, for God's sake, man, it's a 3-turn cooldown. It requires 1 other copy of Outlaw Monk to skill up this A2 to make it a 3-turn cooldown. Place 2 poison debuffs on the target for 2 turns. Strong version. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, this guy isn't, obviously, he's not quite as good as Yaga, but for an uncommon, he's like 85% of the way there, you know? TLDR, Yaga, the 60-day login reward champion, is low-hanging fruit for a video like this. Do not build Yaga the Insatiable. In fact, dude, I'm using him as food. I've got him leveled up to level 40. I'm ready to use him as food in the next champion training event. That's how crap this guy is. And hey, man, before we continue on this list down just a little bit further to the other not worth it champs that are the login rewards, hey, if you're a new player looking to start off a new Raid Shadow Legends account, well, you can start off that account with a sweet, free epic champion. And that champion is, of course, the lovely, wonderful Juliana. To kickstart a fresh new raid account with Juliana on said account, all you gotta do is scroll on down and click on the promo link down below at the top of the video description box to start off a free account with Juliana and a whole bunch of starting resources. Unlike the crap that we're covering in this video, Juliana is actually legitimately a very good option for early game accounts, particularly into good old Demon Lord, as you can see. And yeah, by hitting that promo link and creating a fresh account, starting off a new free-to-play adventure or something like that, you also help to support the channel too. So hey, I appreciate that, boys. Alright, boys, it's time to stir up some controversy. I know there's a squadron of folks out there that really like Dark Aethel, but dude, I gotta tell you the truth, man. I feel like this champion is bait, and here's why. She's marketed as a ruthless AoE attacker, the 90-day login reward champ Dark Aethel. Let's take a quick look at the kit. So on the A1, it's a double hitter with a roughly 50% chance bucked of placing the strong version of decreased defense for a couple of turns. Not bad, right? As far as A1s go, pretty solid. The A2 is an attack all enemies with A, so you have to fully buck up the A2 just to get it to a 75% chance of placing the strong version of decreased speed for a couple of turns. I mean, ideally, you want this to be super, super reliable. This just isn't. Let's see what else she brings to the table. Oh god, it's an extremely, extremely finicky A3. Let's break this one down. Attack all enemies. Place a strong increased speed buff on this champion, so just Dark Aethel, for 3 turns if the stack kills 4 or more enemies. So you have to be killing off. Let's be real, right? Dark Aethel, she's made for Spider. She's kind of useless everywhere else in the game. She actually has pretty low attack modifiers, which is a big part of her problem, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. And so she can't really be used as like an arena nuker. I mean, she can be, but she's not the most effective arena nuker as far as epic champs go. And so really, outside of Spider and just basic wave content, she kind of struggles to find a place in the game where she really excels. But even in Spider, I'm going to make the case, I don't think she's even that great, man. So this is just a strong version of increased speed buff on this champ for 3 turns. You should really have that as part of your team anyway, right? You don't just want to buff the speed of one champ going into Spider. What the hell's the point of that? You know, you want your entire team to be as fast as possible, ideally. Next up, heals this champion by 50% of the max HP if this attack kills 6 or more enemies. It's not healing your whole team, it's just healing Dark Aethel, and ideally she shouldn't be taking attacks from the Spiderlings anyway. And finally, grants an extra turn if this attack kills 10 or more enemies. That's pretty cool. That's not bad if you're able to actually be one-shotting the spiders consistently. Again, the problem is Dark Aethel kind of lacks damage. You might get away with blasting through Spider's Den and just clearing the spiders every time with Dark Aethel's A3 in the lower stages of Spider. But once you're starting to try and push towards, you know, Spider 20, which is like the ultimate goal, right? Spider stage 20, that's where you want to be. For an epic champ, like, she's going to struggle to kill 10 Spiderlings with this 1A3. She just is. And at the end of the day, do you even want to kill the Spiderlings? Half of the best teams in the Spider are HP burn teams, like until you get a cold heart. So you're trying to just apply HP burn to all of the Spiderlings and to the Spider Queen, and then keep the Spiderlings alive, keep them frozen and stunned, right? Crowd control, that's what you want. You don't actually want to be killing them in most Spider teams. And so for that reason, I don't know, dude. I think this A3 is just attack all enemies, sometimes get an increased speed buff on Dark Aethel. I think that's all it is, you know. Now again, there's folks out there who really like Dark Aethel. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of y'all have built Dark Aethel out, and if you have, let me know how you find her, right? Do you still use her in your Spider teams to this day? How is she doing? How is she holding up? Do you feel like you're going to be replacing her anytime soon? Or has she blown you away and impressed the hell out of you? Do let me know if I'm wrong about this one. I feel like she is a bit on the underpowered side. Next up, we gotta stop off at the good old Lordly Legionary, the 150-day login reward, the Tough Fire Knight Raider. Tough. Ooh, they're really doing a good job marketing that to his boys. Oh, he's tough, you know. We gotta max out this guy, except do we? Now, again, Lordly Legionary does have some defenders. To be fair, he is pretty decent into Fire Knight, but dude, he's really not decent anywhere else at all. It's kind of tragic. So the A1 attacks 1 enemy 2 times, place an extra hit if the target is under a heal reduction debuff. Fair enough. Place 2 extra hits if the target is under a 100% heal reduction debuff. Okay, so multi-hitters, good stuff. Break down the Fire Knight shield, all of that good stuff, right? On the A2, attack 1 enemy with a fully bucked up 100% chance of placing decreased speed debuff for a couple of turns. Also decreases the target's 10 meter by 20% if the decreased speed debuff is placed. So a bit of 10 meter control. Again, obviously, you do need that into Fire Knight, and his Ascendant skill plays a 30% reflect damage buff and continuous heal buff on all allies for a couple of turns. Also very, very good into Fire Knight, by the way. Reflect damage buffs across your whole team like this makes it so that when the Fire Knight reapplies his shield, right, he gets his stacks back on his shield, he swings in, attacks everybody, and the reflect damage buff will then reflect 4 hits back onto the Fire Knight and instantly break down 4 stacks of his newly applied shield. So reflect damage buff on everybody is certainly quite good. The only problem with this is that, 1, we've already touched on this, but Lordly Legionary is awful into almost all other areas of the game. And 2, his kit has no freeze effects, meaning he's also not going to scale up into hard mode Fire Knight. So he's literally just a normal mode Fire Knight champion. And that's it. That's all he can do. He is too much of a one trick, man. Now, would I say, like, don't build this guy ever? Don't max this guy out ever? Would that be my advice? Probably not, okay? If you get to the point of the game where you unlock your Lordly Legionary and you still don't have any multi-hitters and good 10-meter control and stuff in your roster, and Fire Knight, you're stuck on, like, stage 10 or something, even after, like, 5 months into the game. And you know what? Fair enough. Maybe just bite the bullet and level your Lordly Legionary, but seriously, just keep him in your vault, keep him in the back of your mind until such a time as that comes, and hopefully during your first shard pulling event or two, you just pull into something better that can be used not only in Fire Knight, but also other areas of the game as well. Because yeah, when you're a new player and your account is very, very fresh, that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for versatile champions that are going to last you a long time and help you out in many, many areas at once, wherever possible. Alright, man, the champs get really, really good after Lordly Legionary, Scylla the Drake's Crusher. Oh, wait a minute, what's this? Tyrnix Hateflower. How do you pronounce that? Tyrnix? Let's just call her Mrs. Hateflower. Yeah, I don't know what this champion's for, man. This is a really bad one. Maybe we should have covered this one first. As far as epic champs go, Tyrnix is... I don't know if she's one of the worst in the game. She's certainly one of the worst login reward champs in the game. Do not max this champ. Almost under any circumstance that I can conceive of at this moment in time. Okay, let's just get to the kit, and it'll probably speak for itself, right? Attacks 2 times at random on the A1. Heals all allies by 3% of this champion's HP with each hit on targets under decreased speed debuff. So it's a conditional, tiny heal on the A1. Which, I mean, whatever. It's just the A1, right? Let's see what else she's got. The A2 attacks 1 enemy. Has a... Dude, look at how many skill books this takes, man. What is this? What is this? Right, so it takes 10,000 epic skill tomes to max out this A2, which is a single hitter, okay, that will then have a 100% chance of placing decreased speed debuff on all enemies for 2 turns if this attack is a crit. So you have to build it with 100% crit. You have to build her with a solid amount of accuracy. You have to pump 20,000 skill tomes into her just to apply a single hitter on the A2 and apply a decreased speed, dude. Like, what? So bad, dude. It's not even attack all, you know? Like, come on, dude. Like, it's really, really poor. And on the passive, decrease the damage all allies receive by a meager 5%. This champion will receive their damage instead if there are multiple champions of the team. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's just not very impactful, is it? Really? In fact, doesn't the Guardian set that you can craft in the Forge provide, like reduced damage taken by 10% and redirects it at the champ? Okay, I just gotta check. Yeah, there it is, man, the Guardian set, where it absorbs 10% of all damage dealt to ally champions and heals by 10% every turn if they're in a Guardian set. You could just put any better support or tank champion basically in the game in a Guardian set, and it will do 4 or 5 times as much as Mrs. Hateflower's passive. Okay, not good. Not good. Not impactful. You're not going to need an AoE single target hitter decrease speed by the time you get yourself Mrs. Hateflower. It's just not on. You're going to have better options at this time. What a waste of time this champion is. Get her off my screen. And hey man, before we get into some more free champs across other areas of the game that are not login reward champs, if you haven't already, go ahead and input the happy little code GameLeap. And if you've already used the code GameLeap, make sure to share it with your clanmates. Man, there's a clan war going on right now, and your bros could use the free energy refill, the 10 free experience brews, and the free 100k silver, man. Help out your clanmates, and you know what? Help out me too, man. Everybody who uses this code, it really, really helps out the channel a hell of a lot, and gets you some free stuff to boot. So there it is. Alright, man. This is a call out to the new players, man. When it comes to farming your campaign stages, you will of course have the chance to stumble into some free rare champions that can drop on occasion from clearing campaign stages, such as Conqueror. This guy sucks. I'm not going to go through all of the rare champs on the campaign. What I will say outright is that the only rare champions that you should give a damn about collecting up from the campaign are as follows: Diabolist, Spirit Host, Valerie, and War Maiden. Those are the only 4 rare champions from the campaign that you really should give a damn about in terms of leveling. You can keep other campaign champs that drop for things like fusions and stuff like that. I think there's 1 or 2. But in terms of actually leveling rare champs up to at least around level 50, those are the only 4 champs that you should give a damn about. Do you want to take these 4 rare champions all the way up to level 60? That's up to you. What I recommend is give it like 3 or 4 months into your account, you know. See what epic champs you've got. You might pull some better epic champs that just do the same job but do it better, right? Because they're just epic quality. And then you can make your mind up from there. For example, I was actually running the happy little War Maiden. I was fully planning on taking War Maiden up to level 60. Then I engaged in a champion pulling event, right? A shard pulling event. And we pulled the happy little Thalicia, who is just kind of War Maiden on steroids, and so War Maiden ended up getting a little bit left behind. And so yeah, I'd recommend that you do the same, and just bear in mind that every other rare champ, again, keep the fusion ones, those could be useful in future, right? But basically every other rare champ is kinda crap. From the campaign, that is, just to clarify. I actually said that with like just a couple of fusion rares that you can get from the campaign. There's actually a whole lot, man. Skullsworn, Sorceress, Rocktooth, Heiress, Gormask, Templar, Diabolist herself, and Executioner. Okay, there's actually quite a lot that maybe you want to look out for and just store in your vault. Now, this is going to be another controversial one, boys. I want to hear what you guys think about this. If I head on into the clan shop just here, man, we gotta talk about good old Yannica. I've been buying the hell out of her fragments. I want to hear what you guys think about it. Is Yannica worth building by the time you unlock her? So you can buy 5 fragments of Yannica at a time per week. As long as you're doing your clan quests, it should be pretty easy to keep up with the costs of grabbing Yannica. That said, it's like a 5-month investment, right? To pick up Yannica. It's quite a steep amount of time, and honestly, by that amount, once that amount of time has passed, is she still offering enough value to justify building as kind of like a must build free legendary on your account by the time you grab her from the clan shop? For me, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give her a go. I'm already quite deep into collecting her fragments anyway, so I guess I'm just gonna go for it. What I might say is that Yannica, again, she's a very, very arena-centric style nuker. She does, of course, have other areas of the game where she can perform well also. But I think what I would say is that if you're very, very late at getting started with collecting Yannica's fragments, maybe you've been playing the game for like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months or something, and you haven't started collecting the fragments yet because you just forgot or you just didn't know they were there or whatever, then maybe she's just worth leaving alone and just save your clan currency for buying Yakal fragments instead, which unlock at clan level 9. But let's check out her kit, man. And again, do share what you feel about Yannica in the comments down below and what you would recommend to newer players, man, because that's what this video is all about, right? Attacks one enemy 2 times on the A1, each hit with a chance of placing a Leech debuff for 2 turns. Not bad. Leech is just generally good into a lot of areas of the game, right? Attacks all enemies 2 times instead if this champion is under a Veil buff. So she's got a double all hitter on the A1 if she's under a Veil buff, which of course she does bring herself. So on the A2, it's an attack one enemy, place a perfect Veil buff on this champion for 3 turns if this attack is critical, and then grants an extra 10. Really quite excellent, of course, for arena openers in particular. And on the A3, attacks all enemies, will ignore shield buffs, removes shield buffs from targets if this champion is under a Veil buff or perfect Veil buff, which again she's gonna be, then deals extra damage equal to 15% of the value of the removed shield buff. So, oi 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 oi, she is really quite the hard hitter indeed for that early game arena. And that's why I think that Yannick is quite contentious, man, because on the surface, again, as like an early game nuker in that arena setting, she can do a hell of a lot of work for you if you start to grab her early. At the same time though, does she fall off? I've seen 1 or 2 videos around on YouTube showing Yannica doing like amazing things into Hydra. Maybe that's something I need to do a little bit more homework on. So, hey man, this is my question, I suppose. I'm not even sure of this one myself. If there's any more veteran players watching this, do you feel like Yannica is worth the build when you first pick her up? If you are still using her, where do you use her in the game? Or maybe did you build her out, get a lot of use out of her, and then she eventually fell off on your account a little bit and was sort of power crept and replaced? Let me know what you guys think about good old Yanni. And finally, for the uncommon champions, and that's how you can tell that this is a video geared at the newer players, right? We don't want any newer players building uncommon champions that just aren't worth it, and there are a lot of them. That said, there's a very, very finite amount of uncommons that are actually worth looking at, so it's going to be quite easy to break down. Armiger is, of course, the absolute cream of the uncommon champion group. He brings very, very reliable 10-meter control as long as you build him with 100% crit and a good amount of accuracy on his A1. 30% 10-meter decrease if his A1 is a crit, which is awesome. Also, he has some revival denial on the A2. Enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived, and the damage of his A2, yes, it's a single hitter, but the damage is scaling based on defense and enemy max HP, meaning that this thing can actually slap into certain areas of the game. And yeah, the ratings kind of speak for itself. He's not good in most places, but where he's good, he's really, really going to help you out, particularly in the early game, because he's so easy to build out, right, being an uncommon. A couple more uncommon champs that might be worth at least holding on to. I'd say maybe if you're super early game, you can take these guys up to level 40 and then just leave them alone. Again, for a good few months, see if you find some better options. Focus on other areas of your account, but you can eventually look to max out a shield guard who, in a lifesteal set and when built with enough crit, can solo the likes of the Minotaur's Labyrinth dungeon, which again isn't a super early focus for you, right, if you're just getting started in raid. You can honestly just keep all of your copies, or you just use all of your copies of shield guard to level up his skills in the tavern, and then just vault him and just keep him on the back burner and revisit shield guard after like 6 months of playing raid or something, and then maybe see if you want to max him out. There is certainly no rush, but yeah, it's all about his A2, right? Attacks all enemies, fill his champion's 10 meter by 20% on each critical hit. Damage inflicted is proportional to defense, so he's a nice, sturdy champ. Some 10 meter fill on his A2, good amount of AoE, not bad. Also into Minotaur, remove 1 debuff from this champion each turn. The Minotaur boss, of course, is applying a hex to your shield guard every turn, and the Minotaur boss also has like some kind of passive that increases damage dealt to hexed targets. Well, you don't have to worry about that with shield guard. He's just cleansing himself of that hex all the time. And the next uncommon, I don't know, Zephyr Sniper. Issue worth holding on to. She has an attack all on the A1, which is pretty tight, honestly, for an uncommon champ. And when built correctly, Zephyr Sniper can act as your Spider's Den tank. Actually did a video just yesterday covering Spider's Den and yeah, like a beginner's guide to Spider's Den and building your first Spider's Den teams, and Zephyr Sniper was one of the champs that we covered that can fill that role. Again, I would say just hold off. No rush to build Zephyr Sniper. Give it 5-6 months. And yeah, just wait and see to see if you can pull something better from your first shard event or two. And every other uncommon, getting back to the theme of this video, is just crap, dude. Not really. Some of them can actually work in some pretty creative builds, but by and large, almost every other uncommon in the game is not going to be worth maxing out. So don't be wasting your goddamn resources. That's it. Okay, did I miss anything, boys? Do let me know. Are there any champs that you can pick up for free in this game that are actually secretly bait and you shouldn't be building at all? I was looking at some of the fusions and stuff. I think most of the fusions that you can pick up are pretty decent, if not necessary, for completing things like missions and stuff like that, right? Relic Keeper, that kind of thing. But hey man, if there are any that I've missed, I would love to know about it. And you know what? So would everybody else in the comments, because yeah, this video is obviously for the newer players out there to avoid folks stepping into these traps. So hey man, if you like this video and you want to help support the channel, best possible thing you can do is use our promo link to sign up with a fresh Raid Shadow Legends account. Doing so will kickstart that new account with the free epic champion in the form of Juliana, and you'll also get a whole bunch of starting freebies as well. That will be awesome. Really helps me to keep on doing what I do here on YouTube. So if you enjoy the videos, maybe you can just go ahead and do that for me and maybe kickstart a new free-to-play adventure or something like that on the side. If not, then hell, it's your life. You could at least like the video though. That would be sweet as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all did enjoy. Please do enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.